What's up, guys? Welcome to the show today. Super excited. We got some NFL news today, and I'm going to give you my immediate reaction with some trades that I think you can make now that we have some more information for next season. If you haven't been to the channel yet before, I'm Sam. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit subscribe below and like the video. It all helps. But let's get into it today, right? What news am I talking about? That's going to be Stefon Diggs going over to Houston. We don't know the exact compensation. I read some stuff about a future second-round pick with maybe some late picks going to Houston as well as Diggs. But Diggs on Houston, I think this is a good time to go get some of these Bills as they're probably going to have a bigger share of the load there. I would expect them to add a rookie wide receiver as well. But let's get this kicked off with who I think is the guy to get with this trade today, and that's going to be Dalton Kincaid. Trade number one here, we're gonna trade Jackson Smith and Jigba for Dalton Kincaid straight up. I like JSN as an athlete, but he's sharing the load with two other very good wide receivers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett restructured, so he's probably going to stay there. So I think Kincaid's upside of being a top 3 tight end, now that he maybe will be the number one weapon in that Buffalo passing attack with Diggs gone. Second option here, how about we trade DK Metcalf? I would trade either of those Seattle wide receivers to go get Dalton Kincaid, who I just see has such a good path to a bunch of targets and an elite tight end fantasy season, which is very hard to get. And Kincaid showed that when he got the targets last year, he was productive. So now with no Stefon Diggs, I'd imagine he gets even a bigger target share. And he's going to continue to get better as a player as well. And that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. Next, Curtis Samuel, kind of an ancillary piece in Buffalo. I'm not saying I'm going to spend super high on Samuel, and I see some reasons that he could be a sell as well. If you get a second-round pick and you're going more of the rebuild route, I think I like that as well. But this option is Devin Singletary for Curtis Samuel. I think Singletary's in a fine position in New York, but I think they may draft someone that's going to compete with Singletary in the draft, so I'm happy to get out before he maybe gets replaced in the NFL draft coming out. Samuel should be probably the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 if they draft a rookie to kind of replace him. But I think he's going to be a good kind of flex guy for your dynasty team for the next couple of years. He's a good route runner. He gets involved with some in the running game a little bit. And I think Samuel should be involved enough to kind of be a flex-worthy guy. James Cook is going to be an interesting one as well here. I would trade 112 for James Cook. I don't know how much higher I would go. Let's say Brian Thomas goes to the Bills. I would probably rather have Brian Thomas than James Cook and just bet on the wide receiver room there. But James Cook, a good player, probably a fringe RB1, RB2 kind of player, going to be involved in the offense with Joe Brady staying there and getting rid of Diggs. It looks like they're leaning into how they played late in last season. So I think James Cook could be a recipient of a similar workload to kind of how he finished off the year last year, which is a valuable guy for 112, especially in a weak running back class. Maybe you can move your later pick for the running back you need instead of having to draft them in the rookie class. And this last one here, this one's kind of thinking ahead, like I said with Brian Thomas, but I think someone's going to go to Buffalo in the first round of the NFL draft, one of these rookie wide receivers. So we're going to move up from 112 to 118 to go attack that player and get him on our team. I think we're going to put 212 in there to see if we can move up for that price. Basically what I'm thinking here is I think there's a pretty solid 7 to 8 players in this range. And I think you're going to have to be at 7 or 8 to maybe go get that Buffalo wide receiver who may get some hype now that Diggs is gone. Obviously, if someone reaches on the Buffalo wide receiver, let one of these quarterbacks fall to you at 1-8 and be happy with that pick as well. So I think it's kind of a win-win to trade up a couple picks here and really take a shot at getting some of these elite assets in Dynasty. So thank you guys for tuning in. I was trying to come at you with something really fast, my initial reaction to Diggs going over to Houston and some trades that may go along with it. Diggs' value himself, I think, is pretty similar to where it's at now. Probably going to see some good targets and some high valuable targets from Stroud, but a more crowded wide receiver room. So it really depends on if you thought Diggs was going to be able to return to how he started last season, or if it was going to look more like late last season in Buffalo, which is kind of how I was leaning. So I actually think this is a fine trade for Diggs. He's going to be in a very efficient and good passing offense. Think back to Peyton Manning's record-breaking year. Can we get that with Welker, Thomas, and Decker? But now we have the Houston wide receivers. Now that's a stretch, but the hype's going to get out of control for CJ Stroud this offseason. And I'm going to be buying into it, man. CJ Stroud is a fun player. And I'm down here in Texas, so it's going to be fun to watch. So Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about these trades, if you can get anything done. And if you have any other ideas, if you have a second, please hit subscribe and like the video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you later on Friday this week. Peace, guys.